So after I beat Persona 3, I pondered if I should jump into the bonus content, the 30-hour campaign called The Answer, or if I should wait. And I ended up deciding that while the story of Persona 3 was fresh in my mind, it would be best to go through The Answer and just get through it. And I need to say, I really should have waited before I started to play it. Persona 3, The Answer, picks up exactly where the main story of Persona 3 left off. The main character has died after using his energy to trap Nyx and prevent the destruction of mankind, and all of the extra characters are pretty heartbroken about it. Instead of playing as the main character since he has died, you play as Aigis. Now, one night when everyone is getting ready to leave the dorm, since it's after the graduation ceremony, you are attacked by this other robot named Metis, who is revealed to be the sister robot of Aigis. And there's this prison of time that keeps looping the same day. So to continue and move on with life, the characters of the series decide that they need to go down and summon their personas again and defeat whatever is causing this little time loop. The most important thing to realize about The Answer, and the biggest thing that makes it fall short, is that it's heavily combat-centered. There's none of the dating, there's none of the social link, there's no side things to do. It's pretty much combat, a couple of cutscenes, and then more combat after the cutscenes. And while the story cutscenes are interesting, it doesn't translate well when you're spending, 20 hours of this 30-hour campaign into fighting the same repetitive combat that you had in the Persona 3 game. Another thing that bothered me too is that you don't carry over any of the data from the Persona 3 main game. You start off fresh, so everyone's character levels are severely reduced. Instead of having this compendium that you collected, you start off with Orpheus because Aigis adopts the main protagonist's powers, but none of the personas that he had at the end of the game. So you feel like you're repeating a lot of the same thing that you just finished with the main story. I want to say that the story is able to carry it and make it worth playing, but unfortunately, I think it isn't. The main points of the story are that in order to stop this time loop from happening, the characters need to go through and defeat these shadows like they did in the original game. And what they end up seeing is they see little cutscenes in the pasts of all the characters, and some are fairly touching, some are a little bit funny, but it's bits of character development that, I didn't think were essential to the characters from the base game. Now, after you defeat a number of shadows, there is this pretty cool scene where, you fight each other. So you, playing as Aigis, and Metis have to fight all the other Persona users to get these key fragments to essentially move on with the story and get to the final boss. Now, the final boss is okay. The symbolism behind it is that it's the want of death of the world, and you guys stop it, and you get closure with your friends passing. But that being said, I still don't believe it was worth the 30 hours that you would need to put in to get that resolution. While the ending of Persona 3 base game is very sad, I think it's fitting, and I think it's touching enough where you could leave it alone. Unfortunately, The Answer is just more of the same. I would even say The Answer is a very dumbed down version of the base game of Persona 3. Another small nitpick too is that you can't set a difficulty either. It's just automatically harder than the base game of Persona 3. So it's, again, a lot of level grinding, a lot of slogging through the same corridors, the same kind of bosses, just so you can move on to the next one and the next one and the next one. And without having that flair of social links or, funny events or dating like in the base game, it really makes it not worth your time. I will say the ending does have a very nice touching moment with Aigis and the rest of the cast of Persona 3, but that doesn't excuse the monotony and the grinding that you have to do to get to that point. Your best option would be just to watch the cutscenes on YouTube, and then you get the full story without any of the boring combat, and you'll save yourself 28 hours of all that ridiculous level grinding. So if you are interested in playing Persona 3 FES, which is the main PlayStation 2 version, or any other of the ports of Persona 3, I would stick with the main game and just leave it at that. So unless you're a die-hard fan of Persona, I really can't recommend sitting through that campaign of The Answer. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been another episode of Kirk Talk, and I will see you guys in the next one.